5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the Jedi Zero Eight, also known as Jeremy the Jedi Guillory. And
Mike, old school wrestling person.
yeah, this is episode 7 of the Broken Turnbuckle podcast. Today we are talking about the rise and fall of AEW. We are going to try our best to stay on topic of AEW focused.
Well, we will. So, at the end, we'll talk about Backlash at the end, her predictions. So.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So just so you know, right now, my clock is showing 12:27 on May 10th, 2025. So that means that Backlash has not started yet, but this episode may be premiering tomorrow after Backlash. So our predictions for Backlash may or may not be accurate. So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So in what was it, 2018 or 19? 19. AEW premiered with a opening. It was actually a pay-per-view that they did with first. It was first they tried out with All In. Was it All In or All Out?
I think it's all out. I don't know. We'll have to go back to the archives to find out.
Yeah. I'm not going. Yeah, I'm going to lose the video feed if I pull it up on here.
We get it wrong. So.
Yeah. But we got all that going on. And then we have, after that successful pay-per-view, Nick, the Young Bucks, Nick Matt of the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and a few others said, hey, this is very successful. We can actually have our own promotion on this. And they created AEW, got all these stars, got Chris Jericho on board. Kenny Omega came on, and they did a pay-per-view called Double or Nothing. And that was their first real time to do AEW.
I saw that one.
Yes.
I saw it.
Yes. Everyone saw it just to see what it was going to be. And no one was expecting the end when Jon Moxley came out and did his move. It wasn't called at the time Dirty Deeds, but what is it called now? It's finishing. Finisher.
His name or the
his finishing move.
I keep
the double.
He keeps changing it every few years.
Yeah.
So he was WWE. They had one name. They changed it a couple years later. I don't know what to call him now. Too many names for it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know which name it is. Like I said, I try to watch on parts on YouTube. I don't have cable TV or anything like that. It's too expensive. So I just hear say online what people tell me. Yeah. I don't really watch AEW.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to begin on to.
Sometimes reviews. That's about it.
Yeah. So here's the thing, is that when AEW started, it started out red hot. And they used that revenue from Double or Nothing to actually get a TV deal with TNT. Was it?
And they found out that his father owned a football team. That's what also, because he had backup.
Tony Khan. Tony Khan had actually.
His father has backup. That's what one reason why they picked him up. In case he runs out of money, they can help fund it. Tony
Khan had struck a deal with the Young Bucks and with Cody Rhodes and them to actually get a spot with AEW to help create AEW. And together, with the help of Toncon and the revenue from Double or Nothing, they actually got a TV spot with TNT. And that's what created Dynamite. Later on, they came up with um, a show on TBS. I believe it was Collision.
Yep, that was like 6 months later when they got successful. Right. And Frank just didn't work and it worked.
Yeah. You know? And then they had another show, I believe that was on Saturday nights or so.
Yeah, the third one with Tony and Big Show. I forgot what it was called, but that didn't last very long.
That one didn't.
It was mostly online. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It worked out for a year, and then it died all of a sudden. So
yeah.
They decided to scrap that and go with the other two shows still.
And of course, during the pandemic, they had AEW Dark as well. That's right. And all that was, and during that time, everything was pre-recorded, and they had a episode of AEW Dark where they had a female wrestler show up both on AEW and WWE pretty much at the same time, like Rick Rude did back in WCW. Right. And they were talking about that was a big momentous moment, but nothing ever came out of her career at all because of it. So there's that. And then in 21, AEW pulled out a big wild card and brought out CM Punk. And that was huge for the wrestling business because CM Punk had a big falling out with WWE years ago. All fans were upset about it, wanting him to come back. And here he finally comes back. And everyone's excited about it. Everyone's saying, welcome back, welcome back. And we're all hoping that he would actually be the CM Punk from then and see what he's going to do now. And then one day, oh, we didn't even mention this yet. Brody Lee. Brody Lee left WWE, came to AEW, did a few good matches, had a good stable, good promos and everything. He was mainly competing for the TNT championship. Yep. And he had.
He's already TNT champion, so.
Yeah. He won the TNT championship, and then he dropped it, was going to come back, was training, got ill, and passed away. So they did a big tribute show for him for that one. All I could see was just highlights of it. It was good send-off for him. Good send-off for the circle that he was in and everything else. They tried to keep that stable alive, but it didn't work so well. They just need him back there. But yeah, there's that issue. And then CM Punk comes, and it looks like AEW is on the rock top right now because they're being everyone in the rings, and everything just starts looking really good. He has a good match and promo with MJF, and it literally looks like he was looking at MJF like, why didn't you tell me this before? In this promo, why are you just now telling me that you are a fan of me and all this stuff? So I'm not sure what all that was about. If it was actually legit or if they were just trying to build it up. But they had a good match that went over the time and they just kept it rolling. Usually, when it comes to TV time, they call it up down the middle and say, okay, it's a draw, nothing else that we can do. No, they continued on with that match. Um, and that was one of CM Punk's best matches in AEW. And then one day, Cody Rhodes' contract expires, and he decides not to resign with AEW. And he's one of the top guys. He's a vice president there. So I was initially thinking, okay, maybe he's not going to go in as he's probably not going to resign as vice president. He's probably going to be a wrestler or something and continue on a storyline or something. Maybe he's going to do that or something.
Right.
Maybe he's going to stop wrestling for a while and start doing stuff backstage or something around those lines. He's going to do one or the other at the time. And then there were rumblings of him going to the WWE. And when I heard that, red flags started popping up in my head. Why would someone at the head of a big time wrestling company shift down to your main competitor? What is going on? I mean, this is way too soon for anyone to do that.
Well, because Vince is no longer there. That's the reason why they're releasing
Vince was still there. Remember, this was at WrestleMania.
I'm seeing with Cody Rhodes and now start coming back, like you said, everybody's been AEW is because Vince is no longer in WWE and Narco took over and they're getting better deals. That's what you asked me about the Cody Rhodes why he left. That's what I'm saying.
I saw the documentary. I saw his documentary. I know why he left.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you what my thoughts were at the time.
Plus other reasons. So.
Yeah. The main reasons were he did not like what was going on with his job at Creative, and other stuff was going on behind the scenes that he wasn't liking. He said it had nothing to do with Tony Khan or the Young Bucks or anything. It was just that his role in there was just too stressful for him to actually manage. He felt like he wasn't actually ready to be the booker of AEW. That was the main reason why he said they left. Now, as far as that going on, AEW was still going a little bit strong, and it was still surviving without him. I was still watching AEW from time to time, but there were some other issues going on that I felt like there were some things that they need to work on, and the honeymoon phase was starting to end. And that's the main tag point in this topic is the honeymoon phase for AEW is over. We're no longer in the honeymoon phase. We are in the main crux of AEW where there's a big fork in the road where it's either going to go uphill or downhill from here.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they have a falling out with CM Punk twice. The first time was with the Young Bucks, where he goes on to meet his scrum, calls someone out, and says, hey, if you have an issue with me, come to my locker room and we'll sort it out. Young Bucks went to his locker room. There was a big scuffle or argument that went on.
I
and he ends up getting suspended. Was he supposed to be suspended? Was it completely his fault? I don't. I don't think so. Um, but they ended up suspending him and going from there. Um, as far as the other thing, and then when he comes back with a bag that I believe had his AEW championship on there, and he said that he's going to defend this, and he has one big match with Samoa Joe in a I believe it was All in London, and um, at the time everyone was thinking, "Man, this is gonna be a good match." But right before he comes out, he has a run in with um, Jungle Kid, and they get into an argument and nearly a fight
With who?
with Jungle Boy. With Jungle Boy.
Oh, I thought you said Tongue Kid.
No. Jungle Boy.
You said Tongue Kid.
No, I said Jungle Kid. But it was actually Jungle Boy. So, Luke Perry's son. And it was all because in the pre-show, he comes up and says that he's using real glass. And CM Punk was apparently a mentor at the time, and he told them, "Hey, don't use real glass," which is a legit concern. You don't want to use real glass when you're doing a show, um, because there could be more safety issues than anything else. Yes, it's going to be a real effect, but would you really want to put your opponent's life on the line for that? So that's where the issue lied with them on there. And Jungle Boy was egging it on for him. And for someone like CM Punk, that is an old school wrestler talking to a new kid, basically. And that mix does not match up well. Anyone would tell you that if you talk to someone old school and you disrespect them, they're going to disrespect you back.
Yep.
And the way that the wrestling works
Mm-hmm.
is that if you disrespect an old school wrestler the wrong way, they could get violent.
Yep.
And that is exactly what happened. And years later, they did show the footage on there, and it went down exactly how CM Punk had described it in the podcast.
Right.
I mean, down to the T.
Mm-hmm.
And
he also wrote about it on his Facebook page. A lot of wrestling on Scott.
Yeah.
On there too, besides podcast.
Yeah. And in the build up to that, I think there was a time while he was suspended the first time where he happened to be in the same area as a WWE show. I think it was a house show. And he just went backstage, see how everyone was doing, and he just wanted to talk to Triple H about something. And supposedly Triple H just could not talk to him at the time, but one of the agents gave him his number or something, and they apparently buried the hatchet at that point in time, and that planted the seeds for him to come back to WWE. After that scuffle with Jungle Boy in AEW, he was immediately terminated. Um, and everyone was saying that he was a cancer. He did not need to be in wrestling anymore or anything else. But we'll talk about that when we get to the CM Punk episode. Um, Most likely, because we're starting to veer off of what's going on. Yeah. So for his sense in AEW, on that, it's a matter of opinion at this point. Who's really at fault here? Should they have really fired him and not have bigger fines or punishment for Jungle Boy? Should they have had a bigger ramification or bigger punishment for the Young Bucks, even though the Young Bucks were senior vice presidents during that time? What do you think is going on? And after that moment was the time that I was so conflicted that I just semi stopped watching AEW even more to stop watching it completely. And it was just getting to the point where this backstage drama is getting ridiculous. And then you start seeing all these other big name wrestlers losing their contracts and going to WWE and NXT. Ethan Page was one of them. Lexus King, um, Brian Pillman Jr., I believe, was the first one that did it.
The reasons why these wrestlers were not being used so much anymore, they get no storylines, no nothing, get fed up. That's why they wait for contracts to run out. Rusev, for example, he wanted to continue with what he was doing, but they do just reason that one time they summoned silence for no reason. He said, "What's this bullshit? I don't want to wrestle. We won't let him wrestle." So he raised contract ran out. That's why you guys are leaving. There's nothing for them to do.
Yeah. And Aleister Black. Aleister Black. They had a good thing going on with his gimmick there. And then out of nowhere, they stopped using him. They could have gone with trio tag team championships with them.
Too many storylines, too many stuff. It's all over the place, It's not, if I add more stories to it, it's hard to move stories, but hours you got on television.
What really hurt them the most with the storylines is that they were adding stuff on at the last minute.
That's another reason why.
And that dates back to their first episode.
Right.
And it was getting to the point where they were advertising at the last minute, hey, next week we're going to have this match. And then they have a promo for it.
Right.
Where Renee Young would interview one of the guys in that match next week, and they would have to come out with something on the fly about that person. And they had no build up or anything to it except for that one promo.
Right.
And then when that next week comes, it would either show up with that match as a mid-card match or something.
Right.
Or something else would happen. Now, the other thing that would happen would be either one of them was going to be in another match with someone else that they would actually be feuding with, or some other storyline going on. They would be advertised for the next week, or it would look like, okay, maybe one of them didn't show up. They would show up at the opening, and they would show up doing a match with someone else, and then the next match would be their advertised opponent against someone else. And I'd be sitting there like, what is going on here? You made a good promo where these two guys were going to be showing up facing each other, and then all of a sudden you're saying that, oh, this person's going to be facing someone else and this person's going to be facing another person. What was the point in that promo? What was the point in that advertisement? What is going on? Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, you made it to where they actually want to face each other, but it seems like something's going on backstage where either the booker's not liking it or they're not liking it. You know, y'all got to address it somehow in storyline because the fans are expecting a Darby Allin versus MJF, but we cannot have Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara, and MJF versus some random Max Caster. We cannot be having all that. You know, two top guys, stars. Y'all need to do better than that. You know, your storylines are going nowhere, and y'all only have so many pay per views throughout the year, and you got nothing to build off of except for the championships. And y'all put in the number one contenders at the very last minute, like crazy. It makes absolutely no sense. Um, Another issue was their TV deals with TNT and TBS. Um, the problem is that if you're going to have a good TV deal, it needs to be constantly on the same day at the exact same time, every single time. You do not need to advertise or announce at the very last minute, hey, our show is not going to be on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on this, today. It's going to be moved over to Tuesday or Thursday because of this other thing that's going on. Don't
because the playoffs, like basketball stuff, you never know if they're going to another match, another game. That's why it's usually last things. Like wait to see the game go, see it'll be a fifth game or fourth game, something like that. You can't control the other sports contracts they have.
They yeah, but NBA and TBS has had those contracts for years.
Yep.
They know how it works. Yep. They know how it goes.
The fifth second game of the championship, they'll just push the other show over.
Yeah. And that's understandable. That is actually understandable. But what's not reasonable is for them to show that at the very last minute. They have time. They should have enough time between game 4 and game 5 to know that, okay, if this goes into a game 5 situation, we need to advertise or announce that the next episode of Dynamite or Collision is going to be at this time and day. And they need to lock it in at that point, at that specific moment in time. They do not need to hold it off. I have seen times where they have actually postponed AEW time slot and moved it to Tuesday or Thursday night for a movie. And that is utterly ridiculous. That's nothing to do with AEW. That has to do with TNT.
Well, basically, TNT has certain movies they want to show on certain days, premieres and stuff, like do every year. That's why they do that.
But really, Star Wars.
Yep.
A contract that they.
Wars, anything like Gone with Wind or anything like that, they don't care. Just push and show the movie. That's how they are. Some stations, I think they lost WCW a lot. Because Time Warner didn't want it, and they wanted to book one release out, so they got rid of them.
Yeah.
I think things are going to have the AEW, they're going to push them right out.
Yeah.
Unless they find another station.
Yeah. But Tony Khan's not going to find another station.
They haven't seen any impact when they kept moving a lot.
Yeah.
They just had to do the same thing.
Yeah. So that's another thing that's going on too, is that now I have YouTube TV.
I go follow. That's how I get some stuff too.
Yeah. And I've also had Sling TV and things. I also had Direct TV when they started. And the problem is that they. Okay, so as far as Sling TV goes, So on there, on most of those things, when you look at guide, you can see somewhat on what channel that you're on and everything. With them going with several different stations, all I'm looking for is AEW at that time. I'm not focusing on, okay, is this on TBS? Is this on TNT or anything?
Right.
Because they have one show on TBS, one show on TNT, and other shows on either or. So when you see that going on, honestly and truly, I don't know what station I'm actually watching at that time. Now, yes, there's a watermark on the corner that says, okay, you are watching this on TBS or you're watching this on TNT. I could swear that I could see that some of the watermarks for Dynamite would shift from TNT to TBS.
Yes. That's the reason, because they kept preempting a lot, because all the basketball and all that. So they said, just put it on TBS. Don't show much because baseball. The TBS only shows baseball. They don't show basketball or anything like that.
Yeah.
TNT's got all the other stuff, but TBS just has baseball. So they can do more episodes on TBS than they can on TNT.
Yeah. So the biggest solution that I can see for that is if TNT has basketball playoffs going on,
right,
and TBS doesn't have a good show, or since TBS mainly shows like reruns or something, if they don't have a big event going on, they can easily move. Since they're both owned by the same company, they can easily move Dynamite over to TBS and not have them shift over for those different days.
They've been on TBS for over a year and a half now. They already shifted them. You didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Both been on TBS over a year now. They had a big announcement on online about saying that they have problems with TNT because all those games. They decided to shift to TBS. Have both shows on TBS now. They're no longer on TNT, both on TBS. There's Night Dynamite and Saturday Collision, both on TBS now. That's last
that's something that I didn't.
I don't know if they should back or not. I don't know. That's what the last news was.
Yeah. Oh, and Rampage was the third one too. So.
Yep, that's the other one time there too. So all three are on there.
Yeah. So. Now, I think one of them, either Collision or Rampage, got canceled. I'm not sure exactly which one.
I don't know. Let me check. My thing. Keep talking. So let me check.
Yeah. This. So yeah. So it's nice to see that they're actually fixing that issue. Because I don't like going in and seeing, oh, there's no Dynamite tonight or something.
Rampage one got canceled as of December 24th, December 27th last year. It got canceled in December. Collision's now taking over spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rampage got taken off because CM Punk's no longer there. That was his show.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they had Collision. Collision shows up mostly on Saturdays.
And in place of Rampage.
Yeah.
The time Rampage
and as much as Collision may seem like a good show overall, right. The issue that I have with Collision is that, yes, it's on Saturdays, but it's conflicting with the PLEs. It's conflicting with all these different shows here, and it's basically becoming the WCW Thunder of AEW.
Yep.
And and from what I've seen in highlights, they are trying to improve it some. But the issue is that with all the elite wrestlers that they have and everything, they could easily make that show into a SmackDown.
Pretty much.
I mean, all these contracts that are expiring and you're letting them go to WWE, they could easily just have them solely based in on Collision and have them something to do.
Well, let me go up George for a minute. There's no reason why he's failing because Tony's not really paying attention. Because remember, he owns Ring of Honor. And he's doing both at the same time. That's why none of them are going good. So he keeps going back and forth. He's not having one guy run one show, one guy run another. That's just getting everything screwed up. He's running both shows at once.
Ring of Honor? Does Ring of Honor have its own show?
Yes, but it's on the internet. But usually it's pay-per-views. Once in a while you can find it on YouTube once in a while when I put it on. But lately they haven't. Just pay-per-views only. That's what I've been doing now. They had a show, but then, like I said, Tony Khan is going back and forth, and everything's screwed up with them, both organizations.
So Ring of Honor does not have its own TV deal. AEW does.
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the pay-per-view advertisements, but I haven't seen any of the shows lately. I've been looking up on YouTube, like only the older shows.
Yeah,
he did. That's all I see. On YouTube. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's going to sell it or not. I don't know. He still owns it.
He could easily do something that WWE easily could have done with WCW on that. All he needs is a separate booker for Ring of Honor. That's
the reason all. He wants to do both. He don't want to hire anybody.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
He can have someone run. He can have Young Buck 1, Nick, run AEW. Young Buck 2, Matt, help him with Ring of Honor. Problem solved.
Well, that might be a problem because you let someone run an organization, just like example, Kevin Nash, when he wanted the world title, he got himself. What if they want to take team titles, make him drop it and keep titles for a long time, him running it? It's better to have our current wrestler on the roster running it, running the booker because it could favor them than anybody else could end up like WCW again. That's what's going to happen. You cannot do that. You got someone legit that's not wrestling, it's backstage, like Christopher Daniels can do Ring of Honor. He's not wrestling no more. He can do that, and then Tony can run that, or either or. Because Mark Daniels got is strong with Ring of Honor a long time ago, so he knows the ins and outs on that. So put him there, let Tony run AEW, there you go. There's your problem. Solves the problem.
Another thing about Tony Khan, and this is stuff that I've really noticed, is that there was a period of time between 2021 and 22 where almost every week they would say that Tony Khan has a special announcement. It was either every week or every other week.
Something like that.
And their announcement was actually going nowhere with it. Like he would come on, say something, and I'm like, what's the special announcement? Where's the special announcement at? You know, because if you're announcing like a pay-per-view or something that has already been announced before, how's that an announcement?
I do not know.
I mean, it made absolutely no sense.
It's just, he's trying to get everybody excited about this. Just tell them match. It's going to be a pay-per-view, and they tell them pay-per-view. So all companies pay-per-view, we have those soul matches, and tell them, pay-per-view's coming up. Like, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Talk about the matches. Like WWE just talks about the matches. Don't talk about the pay-per-views coming up. They talk about the matches. Don't just say, we got this coming up. Everybody knows it's coming up. Everybody knows what's going to be every year.
Yeah.
Just talk about the matches.
Yeah. I mean, they need to say what his announcement is about. Not just say, he has a special announcement. You tell us that there's a special announcement, and he comes up and starts blabbering on about something.
Yeah, I know.
That makes no coherent sense. And the fact that he's not even blinking throughout the entire time, just wide-eyed, like, this is what's going on with AEW.
Well, like the Owen Cup tournament, like I said, it's going nowhere. All he's doing is not doing nothing for him.
No.
And his wife's behind it, but she wants to do nothing for WWE. But WWE Vince is not running WWE no more. That's a question. Why won't she let TKO talk to her and do something over there? You got a lot of younger wrestlers over there more than AEW does. They just take whoever's left the organization, throw them in there, and then do what they want with them.
Believe it or not.
Oh, Maven was there the other day. Maven started talking to Tony Khan. He might be going in AEW right now. He's just talking to him, and in a video on YouTube this afternoon.
Yeah.
About Facebook, them talking. So he possibly might be going. Maybe possibly might come out of retirement and go to AEW, or he's going to do some backstage stuff for him. Let's see what happens. Right now, it's up in the air.
Or, did you actually see the video?
Yeah, it's I don't know if I got on my Facebook page or not, but as videos on there, the picture of them shaking hands and talking a little bit, and then walking out.
Yeah, I've seen the. It's on my YouTube right now. I just haven't had a chance to actually watch it or anything to actually form an opinion on it, because I'm not sure if because usually what Maven does is he talks about the wrestling industry, the ins and outs of it, and things.
Yeah, because he's a wrestling fan plus
a former wrestler.
Even wrestling knows the ins and outs. What's going on?
Yeah. So
it seems like the best does.
Yeah. So when I saw that, knowing how his YouTube channel goes, I'm thinking that he's just going in there to see what the difference is between WWE and AEW.
As I said, either he's going to enter or something else is happening.
And going to be talking to some wrestlers, talk to Tony Khan about what AEW is about. That's what I kind of gathered what was going to be on. Now, is he going to come out of retirement and wrestle for AEW or work with them? Time will tell.
No, I don't think he's going to do that. If he's, like I say, see something else he's doing, you never know.
Yeah.
As I say, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly WWE reached out to him a few years back, and he turned them down too. So
he didn't have much of a push after he won. He was like first went after the Undertaker, and then got mid card because he couldn't handle like the mid card status, and they just dropped him like a bad habit because he wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
He couldn't really hang with a lot of the wrestlers. That's the thing. Yeah. Some wrestlers, you can do this thing. You go in there, you went up, nope, you can't even wrestle.
Yeah. So let's go back to AEW here. So when Vince McMahon left, okay, so when Vince McMahon left WWE, AEW had a golden opportunity to step up and actually hone in on this moment right then and there to grab a hold of all the WWE fans and say, hey, y'all shows are about to collapse. Come here and we're going to show you how much better AEW can be.
They didn't do it.
They didn't do it. They have not done it yet.
Another organization did it. I'm not saying the organization because we're not talking about that this week. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When that happened.
Yeah.
That's why they got the contract with right now. So.
Yeah.
At the AEW.
And the sad thing is that when you look at the AEW shows, the venues, Dynamite, Collision, and all that.
Small venues.
One is a small venue. Two, they claim it could be sold out, a sold out venue. You zoom out, I see more empty seats than I do filled.
Yep.
How can you say that that's sold out?
Because there's nothing new going on. They're starting to slow down. I don't know what he's doing, and he got no fast booking wrestlers booking or anything else. It's not going down. It's got nobody.
Yeah.
He knows a lot more wrestling than anybody else. That's why he hired bookers who used to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Look Dusty Rhodes did with NWA and WCW when he came booker.
Yeah.
Boom. Look at Pat Patterson when he came booker. One of the bookers of WWE. Boom. Boosted everything. Yeah. You gotta have a wrestler. You can't just have one person stand there.
Yeah. So, and when I watch, and it's really difficult for me to watch AEW most of the time because everything's just so cringeworthy there. The only good thing going on there that I can see and that I'm getting in my feed is Tony Storm. That's the only thing that I'm seeing good or positive with AEW right now.
Guess who was in the audience at AEW TV show?
Who?
Zach McGowan. They're trying to get him in there. The one-legged wrestler.
Yeah.
They're trying to get him in there. He's in the honest right now. They're negotiating with him, possibly returning to the ring. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to say that the one-legged
It's
wrestler.
not going to say. I mean,
he can rehash it. You know, he's a good wrestler, but he's not going to last very long in AEW.
No, he's not. He's on the verge of retirement anyway.
Yeah. Try to get one more good one out of him.
But going back to my thought here. So, the only good thing going on with AEW right now is Tony Storm. Now,
he said Stark,
I've tried.
I'm not even Storm. He said Stark, though. That's okay.
Yeah. I have tried to watch AEW in full.
Yeah.
AEW Dynamite in full. I have really tried my best to focus in on the positives for it.
Yep.
A few weeks ago, when I was building up to this episode, I decided to watch Dynamite for the first time in about 5-6 months.
Right.
And that was when they had the main event of John Moxley's 3 tag team, and they changed that up from the Blackpool Combat Club to something else, to like some kind of dark circle or whatever it is. I forget what it's called now. And they bring out Samoa Joe and his partner, and bring back Powerhouse Hobbs. And when they do something like that, and you see the pop, you immediately know that the tag team the titles could be changing hands. The Trios Championship could be changing hands. But you also could probably guess that, well, wait a minute. This could be a one-off thing, too. You know, the back of my mind was saying, okay, well, this could be a one-off thing as well, because of the fact that Samoa Joe just got 2 other guys together for a Trios Tag Team Championship match.
Right.
And, of course, I believe Jon Moxley is the AEW champion currently, and Samoa Joe makes him tap out, which is why they have the next pay-per-view with Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley. Now, when I look at that show, or that episode, and that main event, it was a really good match, really good main event. I give it about 4.2 stars at best. And what really hurt the show the most was when Tony Schiavone and Excalibur were saying that the entire locker room is coming out. The entire locker room that they were saying that was coming out didn't even fill out the ring.
Nope.
Did you see that episode?
He told me that a few years ago that a lot of people don't come out anymore. I already know that.
Yeah,
last week.
Yeah. I mean,
it
was a small venue.
We didn't talk about the wrestling match. We're just talking about how they come out and not many wrestlers come out.
Yeah. On a major TV network, in a small venue, where the main event only has front row seats available of crowd people.
Right.
Title changes hands. You say the entire locker room is coming out to celebrate. And the entire locker room consists of 5 to 6 additional wrestlers that competed that night. Tell me how you are being successful. If you knew that the titles were going to change hands, and you made it known backstage, hey, there's a championship match, we need everyone in Gorilla for this main event. Everyone needs to be in Gorilla. No one goes home early. If they do that and they have this match, title changes hands, and bring everyone out, what makes AEW look more successful is if everyone, including production team and everyone else, trainers, go out there and celebrate with them. Fill up the ring as much as possible. If they do not fill up that ring as much as possible and do exactly what they did there, it's not looking good for them at all. It is not looking well for them. That's why I'm saying that this is in a downhill spiral fall. I have tried almost all week and all day today to find people that are online that will at least say something positive about AEW and what they're doing. I've tried all week. I talked to as many people as I can think of that would show up on a green dot on Facebook that would say, hey, I actually like AEW. Every single one of them would say no. Facebook groups all say no.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Very rarely can you find an AEW positive group. And that those groups are dwindling down bad.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to a few others and say, let's not talk about WWE. Have you tried talked about independence? Yes. We are going to be talking about independent wrestling. We're going to talk about stuff that's not um, WWE. We're doing this topic to show everyone that we're not all WWE centric here. We're going to be talking about topics that are not wrestling. I just posted a reaction video, a real short today, on my reaction to Derek Carr retiring from the Saints. I may be doing some videos about the NFL, possibly. I've made a short saying that I may do videos regarding the NBA. All these different things. So, with this being on, you know, the issue is that trying to find someone that would say something positive about AEW is very difficult. I mean, you talk to some when you're the host of a podcast, you have to actually focus in on what a good subject is, what a good topic, what's a good draw in, and if I can get a good guest to actually talk about what's going on. And I've tried that for this topic, especially. And this has been going on for weeks for this topic. And I even asked you, did you have anything positive to say about AEW when we first chat?
Well, basically, I found something on YouTube. I think it happened close to 2 days ago. Happened last week.
Right.
They made Rhino a joke.
I fell asleep during that match.
He couldn't beat Nick Wayne for TV Championship. No outside appearance. He wrestled him and beat Rhino for the Ring of Honor TV Championship. That's a joke.
Okay, so let's. I watched AEW.
It's showing AEW.
Yeah,
that is a joke. I'm sorry. Look, the skinny guy can beat Rhino. Come on.
Okay. Let's rewind about that here. So I watched AEW Dynamite this past week, and I remember Nick Wayne coming out, and of course he gets interrupted. The announcer gets interrupted by Christian Cage's entrance. Right when Nick Wayne comes out, they cut out into commercial, and I'm ready to see who his opponent is, and I end up passing out.
Well, they got Rhino because he's best friends with Christian. Because a long time ago, when they're both all entering wrestling, they're all together.
Well, we all know like we know their history. We know their history.
Yeah,
so here's how boring that match was. I pass out. I fall asleep. All I remember is hearing about the match itself, dozing in and out, and I'm like, I don't even know who he's wrestling.
Lasted 5 minutes.
It's
5-minute match.
And I actually wake up after the match ends, and they announce the winner is Nick Wayne. I'm like, okay.
It was sleep. You slept for 5 minutes because it was 5 minutes and some seconds the match was.
10 minutes later, I go on Facebook, and I'm just scrolling, and they say, and Dirt Sheets Radio makes a post saying that Rhino has come back to AEW. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great for him. Good job. And then I look at who his opponent was, and it was Nick Wayne. That's how boring that match was.
That match was like 5 minutes, about 5 minutes basically. I watched it on YouTube. It showed him doing good, but then it went downhill.
Yeah.
It went downhill.
I mean, for a wrestling fan like myself,
right,
to actually watch a show and not have any big issues medically going on at that time, and for you to make me pass out and fall asleep after a big debut of a big name star, that says a lot about how your project is doing right now.
Is it still on, or is it went off? It's been on there 30 minutes.
If it's still on,
you said it's going off every 30 minutes.
Yeah, it goes off in 30 minutes. We're at 27 minutes, 15 seconds.
Just keep an eye on that because it's almost another half hour. So.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on that and keep talking.
Yeah. So, what's going on with AEW is that they need to really amp up their game. And another thing that we haven't talked about, another big thing that we have not talked about at all, is their deal with Prime Video, their pay-per-views. Now, you compare the matches with WWE, the PLAs with WWE, and the pay-per-views for AEW. They have the AEW should also have a TV deal with Max as well, from what I've heard. They have a video package deal with Max.
I looked at it. Not that great.
Not that great.
All they do is show reruns of what happened past that. Dynamite don't show any of the peer reviews. It shows basically it's a joke.
Okay. Okay. So
nice to have back, so I got rid of it.
Yeah. My time's about to run out, so I'm about to have to re-record this. But what I'm going to say is that for Dynamite, what they need to do, or for the pay-per-views, is you compare both of the shows.
Right.
You see a deal for $14, $10, $20 a month, and you go to the other competitor and you see a show on there for $60 a month or $60 per pay-per-view. Which show would you choose to watch?
I go to a lower price show because you find a network which has a deal.
Exactly.
And you spend so much a month on it.
Exactly.
You get big matches while you try to buy pay-per-view and get trap matches.
Yeah.
For 4 hours.
Yeah. All right. So the pay-per-views issue.
Okay.
is pretty much we have the pay per view of AEW being $60 per viewing, basically,
Right.
on a platform that people pay $14.99 a month for.
Right.
Whereas you have WWE on Peacock, where you just pay a flat rate of um, four $9.99 to $14 per month to watch the PLEs, and you also get Netflix for $7 to $21 per month to watch
Well,
Raw.
it's not 7 anymore. I just checked. It went up $2. It's $9.99 now.
Nine
It went up
ninety
two
nine.
bucks a few months ago. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
It said it's a
yeah.
$9.99 a month now. So, a couple bucks.
Netflix constantly raises up their prices, which is another reason why people hate Netflix.
That's why I
And
took the lowest thing on everything.
yeah, but they're gonna be jacking the prices up even more in the next year or so, anyway.
Yeah, and then we'll stop wanting. I'm gonna turn it off and forget Raw.
Yeah,
Won't be worth it.
yeah, and so there's that information with um, the comparison of WWE and AEW right now.
Right.
Um, AEW is also on Max, where they only show the reruns of their shows.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks to get last week's show. That's what I was
Two
talking about. It takes
weeks.
2 weeks to watch the show that just came on, and then when it comes on, you're so far behind. 2 weeks
You
is
don't
how
know
they put
what's
it
going
on.
on.
Right.
You have no idea what's going on.
It's 2 weeks. I got it. The opening was watching each episode. They showed the 25th episode 2 weeks prior for the Christmas one. I said, what the frick's going on? And I looked at them. Oh, they're not going to show them next week, so 2 weeks. I said,
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
idiots? That's no reason they're losing it because we're doing the Max now. They're showing themselves.
There's a lot of stuff that they need to improve on, and that is one of them. So you have that, and you also have the pay per view deal with Prime Video. Now, I get it. I get it. Going on to YouTube TV, Sling, and all these other platforms that are just strictly mainstream replacement of cable platforms, you don't see much of pay per views anymore. You barely get that. You only get wrestling or fights or MMA or something like that now. So, yes, you have to switch on to another platform for that. Where better than to do Prime Video? I get that. I get that. However, the way that Prime Video works is that they mainly get new movies out and charge you to either buy them or rent them, and their buying price is very much the same price as going to the store and getting it.
Right.
And you might as well go ahead and just buy it digitally and watch it anytime you want to, versus going on to the store and getting a physical copy. I get that.
Let me interrupt for a minute. I said this in the last part of the video we missed. Basically, what they do, you pay the money for it. I watch baseball. I'm not current baseball wrestling, but when I first started watching, first Prime got a baseball game, you got to pay $2 for it. It took 4 weeks for it to get for free like you're supposed to. But AEW, they're doing it themselves. Nothing to do with Prime. Prime offered them something. They're not going to do it. They're paying the $60 a month extra because they're money hungry and they're not making enough money. That's the difference between some of this free stuff you're supposed to get, like NFL, same thing. The whole package by NFL themselves, not by the teams, by the whole NFL association making it for free to watch Thursday Night Football. AEW, no, they want money. That's what's killing them right there. They're trying to get more money that they can't afford. That's why they're getting less people in the arenas trying to make more in pay-per-views.
That's one of the big issues, though, too.
Yep.
Is that what they should do is not charge us a arm and leg, $60 to watch the pay-per-view.
Right.
What they should be doing is getting a contract with Prime Video like NFL does.
Yep.
And allow us to watch the pay-per-view for free. That way we're only paying a flat rate of $14.99 per month.
Right.
And
as I
and this wasn't even recorded before, but my question is when Tony Khan inherits the Jaguars in 10 to 15 years, 15, 20 years,
right?
Do you honestly think that that Prime Video is going to allow, or the NFL is going to allow them to charge about $60 just for them to have the Jaguars play on Thursday night? The answer to that is no.
He can't do that. NFL has an exclusive contract, which means NFL can take football teams out and they can fine suspend all the owners because they have the authority to do that. They sign a contract stating, monitor your team in the NFL, you go by the NFL rules. They cannot charge $60 just to show his football game on Thursday night. That is illegal. FCC will go after him too, which he might even lose AEW if that happens. FCC goes, FCC take everything away from Tony Khan.
FCC needs to hone in on this pay-per-view thing.
Tony Khan be penniless after all the sports and stuff. Yeah. He does the football team. He's going to be penniless. He's going to be broke.
Yeah. So
if he never does it. He can't do that's illegal in football and FCC regulations.
Yeah. So, in summary, what AEW needs to do, first things first.
Go ahead.
Get rid of this $60 pay-per-view bullshit.
Right.
That is number one.
Yep.
Get on a platform like WWE does. Get your own network platform or whatever. Get on to TNT Plus, TBS Plus, whatever you need to do.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? They're trying to get their own thing, but the way it's going right now, it's not going to happen because they can't afford it. They're trying to get their own platform like TNA is, and put all their stuff, all the previous stuff on there like that. But now it's borderline because not making money, so that's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
Okay, now continue. Go ahead.
Did you not get where I said TNT Plus, TBS Plus?
TNT don't have Plus near as TBS. They only have a regular platform with the cable company. They have no independent network.
They need to have one. They need to have one.
They're not going to do it. They're just going to stick with the cable companies.
Time Warner needs to do some kind of platform where they can have all their content all in one spot. If it's going to be Max, then
I know they're trying it for about 2 years now. Nothing's happening.
Yeah,
because they can't get butts in the seats. That's the thing. You can't make money.
If you're not going to get a good deal with TNT or TBS or Time Warner, go with someone else. Go with a different thing. Go with Fox. Go with CBS, NBC, someone like that.
NBC has a contract with WWE, so you can't do NBC. CBS don't want wrestling near as ABC. They already said that vocally. They will not do wrestling.
Then do it with Disney. Do it with Fox. Do it with someone that
tried to get WWE, but it fell through.
Yeah,
that's the reason why they
do it with someone that wanted WWE but did not go well. Those negotiations soured. So do it with them. Get on their network somehow. Get your shows right. Get a time slot that will not have any interference whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And then when you get that going on, get on their platforms, their digital platforms that they have.
Right.
And strike a deal where all we have to do, all us fans have to do, is subscribe to their platforms and pay a flat rate for that. And have them pay you the millions of dollars that you need to keep your show on the air.
Right.
Now.
See what your top, whatever you're doing.
Another thing for Tony Khan.
Right.
Stop with the very small venues. You can go all out on this. You and your father both own the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
You can use your stadium if you need to every week. You can use your stadium if you need to every week. They're not doing anything.
Right.
Pretty much. You can use a practice facility, something that y'all own, and y'all can use that venue for your shows and bring
Right.
them on.
Right.
You can do that for the fans. Bring the fans in that way.
Yeah. There's nothing legal about that. It's your stadium. You do what you want.
You do that. Make the crowd bigger than what it looks like on TV now. Because it looks like a freaking high school gym on national TV right now. That's
Yep.
embarrassing to look at.
Yep. Totally agree with you.
And when they zoom out, all we see is front row seats being taken.
Yeah.
And
Once in
it's
a
not
while. Once in a while.
helpful when it's a
Once in a
front.
while. Yeah. Sorry. Once in a while, you see wide shots. Once in a while, they actually show wide shots. You see all the empty seats.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go wide
Yeah.
shots without
Yeah.
even knowing it.
If you're going to go wide shot and say it's a full house or sold out crowd or something, and you zoom out and show empty seats, that's not good for the product at all. I mean,
Nope.
we're not liking that. We are wrestling fans. We want to see actual wrestling going on. We
Yep.
don't want to see a dying brand
Right.
on live TV.
Right.
We don't want to see that at
Nope.
all.
You've seen too many long enough.
Yeah. So we want to see actual wrestling going on. Another thing, when you have a championship main event, and you know the title's going to change hands,
Right.
do not tell the roster that they can go home at that point. When you know there's going to be a big celebration at the end of the night,
Right.
and you know the announcers are going to say the entire locker room is coming into the ring to celebrate, I better see the entire locker room fill up that entire ring.
Right. So
I do not want to see a trios championship match where a title changes hands and 5 extra people show up there, and Excalibur or Tony Schiavone comes up out of nowhere and says the entire locker room has came to celebrate.
They're telling the truth. That's a whole little locker room.
I mean, I don't want to see that. That makes it look like it's a piss poor company.
Which it
and is. You know, when Triple H called y'all a pissant company, y'all don't need to take that literally. Okay? Y'all got so many legends, so many superstars, and everything that y'all can make a good product. Y'all don't need to be putting all these guys on the sidelines and saying we don't have anything for you and make them jump ship to NXT and WWE. We don't need to see that.
Right.
Fans don't need to see that. Y'all don't need to have that. None of that needs to happen.
It's a joke.
It is a big joke. Big, fat ass joke.
Okay, anything else? Are you just about done?
There's a lot. I said a big rant, remember. So
anything else? AEW that we might have forgotten? I think we covered everything. Well, the one so about Zach Gowen. I forgot to mention him.
Zach Gowen. But yeah, that's gonna be a little bit irrelevant at this time.
But showed up
let's yeah, and make the thing so entertaining too. This past week, y'all brought in Rhino in.
Yeah, that was a joke.
And
that was a joke.
That was a 5-minute match, and I was watching AEW in full at that time, and when Christian Cage came out, interrupting the announcer, I passed out. I fell asleep. There was nothing medically wrong with me this time. Nothing medical wrong.
Got bored.
And I fell asleep before the competitor came out, and it turned out to be a Rhino.
Yeah,
I woke up at the
videos
very end of the match. I woke up at the very end of the match. Right when the bell rang, I woke up, and I saw that Nick Wayne won. I was like, okay, well, that's a good match. You know, I guess that was a good match. I was barely awake, barely listening, and things. Didn't even know who his opponent was. And then I go onto Facebook about 10 minutes later and find out that Rhino had debuted in AEW.
Yep, it's a very short match.
And I was like, wow, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for them to have Rhino, an ECW legend, come out, and I fall asleep throughout the entire match. And I'm a big wrestling fan, too. I'm a big ass wrestling fan.
Same here. I'm a diehard.
I mean,
one. I go a lot longer than you. I'm called the diehard one. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. From the beginning to I started to now, it's a lot of years, like 40 plus years. I've been watching it.
Yeah. And I look at the roster now, the AEW roster now.
Right.
And bear in mind on how big the roster is, how big the personnel is. And you include Ring of Honor in that as well.
Yep, the finals.
And you see how bad that they are struggling in booking that for a weekly show.
Right.
I can
for a long time.
Now, I play WWE 2K24, and I do the WWE Universe mode, and I can do up to 5 or 6 weekly shows in a PLE.
Right.
And I can have a full created roster, full created characters, and they only allow up to 100 created characters on that game.
Right.
And I can put all 100 all throughout that 5-week stretch, including AEW, Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. Even though Rampage is not around anymore. But I can include Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite in that show, in that universe. And I can create way better shows and match cards than what AEW is putting out right now.
Right.
With nothing but created characters.
Huh?
Nothing but created characters. Right. Probably the same roster amount number that they have right now. And I can actually create 3 months worth of storylines going on with them on that game itself to make it more entertaining than what they are doing what Tony Khan's doing right now.
Right.
That is sad. I am 36 years old, sports coaching major in Summit, Mississippi. Right. And I can probably go on to Twitch if I can get my Twitch account working and have a wrestling show be streamed online of a video game that's going to be way better than what AEW is doing.
Yeah, but you got to get copyright permission first for doing that. You don't know what happened last time when you told me about the copyright that we talked to you about that. Yeah, I guess it's through them for the
Which is different.
Company. I know, but we'll be good. We'll be good. You know, put your own thing. You know what you're doing. You got your own matches. You know what you're doing. You know, it'll be interesting to get good people watching it.
Now, Twitch, I'm not sure if you know this, but Twitch is designed for gamers to actually stream their gameplay online. Right. So there's no need for copyrights or anything like that because you're actually people are actually watching you play a game online. Right. So there's no need for copyright or anything like that.
We gotta be careful. You can go through any red tape once you want to. You know, it's not all something for, but sometimes it goes too far, and then that's when we step in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not going too far.
To my knowledge, there's no monetization on Twitch as of yet. I have not seen any monetization on my Twitch channel yet. or anything like that. So I don't see anything like that happening anytime soon. Some people say that there is. Some people say that there's not.
Just be careful. You never know. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's not
So anyway, back to what we were saying. The fact that I can make a better show than what AEW has says a lot.
Right.
A regular person can make a better show on a video game than AEW says a lot.
Right.
So what y'all need to do is fix the pay-per-view shit, fix the network issue, get on a streaming platform that only pays so much a month, get bigger venues, go on to y'all's own venues if y'all have to, do your weekly shows on that.
Right.
Actually have sold out crowds and everything, and actually do something good with your rosters.
Right.
Productive with your rosters. Don't let Toni Storm be the only one that's actually saving your company right now. We don't need that, because when she's gone and she goes to WWE, y'all are fucked. You're not screwed, you're fucked.
Yep.
I'm being blunt honest with you right now.
All people are gone. Britt Baker left there, and everybody else is left
Everyone's leaving. Everyone's jumping ship.
Well, Britt's not
it's
wrestling.
A sinking ship.
Britt went back to her dental thing. She don't feel like wrestling right
honeymoon
now.
phase is over.
Yep.
The honeymoon phase is over.
Right. Losing big key people left and right because they have nothing to do for it.
Y'all are literally becoming WCW 2.0. I've asked Mick Foley. Yep. I've asked Sting.
It's the same thing.
I've asked Sting. I've asked Mick Foley. I've asked several people.
Saying that 2.0 for over a year.
Several people in AEW. Please tell me this will not be WCW 2.0.
Yeah. Everybody know this for about years. I started calling it.
Legends. Ric Flair. I've asked Ric Flair. I've asked Mick Foley. I've asked Sting. Yeah. I've asked JBL. Do you think that AEW is going to become a WCW 2.0? They would say it's too soon to say. Too soon to say. And it's bad when someone from AEW or someone that's a legend that's no longer affiliated with either company actually agrees and says yes, they will.
Right.
You know, they watch the product, they see the things that's going on, and they're like, yeah, this thing's going down. I don't want to go to another Comic-Con and talk to them about the WWE relationship with AEW, and them say that AEW is going really downhill right now. I don't need to hear that. I don't need to see that. You know, I don't want them to avoid the question or anything. You know, it's...
They can't say anything about it because he's still connected with AEW, and they will allow him to do the WWE Hall of Fame things. They're saying he can go induct Lex Luger, so he's still...
Well, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
I'm upset when he said he don't know. I don't think he wants to say anything that's going to jeopardize his contract with the company.
Yeah.
If he said yes, Tony Khan probably would have fired him.
Yeah. Yeah. So...
As long as he's in contact or contract with him, he's not going to say anything.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway, next week, we are focusing in on the forbidden question.
Uh-oh.
It's a question that every single person that's been a wrestling fan has heard. We get asked this all the time. It gets so old, it becomes annoying.
Yep.
We hate this question. We have to address it.
Right.
We just have to address it. I'm sorry. We have to address the forbidden word, too.
Right.
Every wrestler, every fan knows the forbidden word. And we have to address it.
Right.
And we hate to address it like this, but we have to address it.
Yep.
It has to be addressed. And I don't know how I'm going to promote this next video, but I am going to promote it somehow.
Right.
I am going to probably create some shorts about it. Probably going to ask the question flat out and have the main reaction to it in that short, cut it off, and post it as a warm up for this. I
Right.
don't know yet. I don't know. I'm still working on that.
Okay.
So there's that bit going on.
Right.
So other than that, do you have any final thoughts on AEW right now?
That covers it.
Okay, good. Backlash just happened.
Yep.
Um,
By the way, everybody's gonna say, why did it go from light to dark? But you can always have, well, folks, we have problems with the thing he's on. That's why this last half's in the dark.
okay, okay. So, so, I explained this in a short earlier that I posted. What happened was we had a great recording going on with us, and on the very last segment of that recording, everything was looking good. Everything looked fine and peachy. Right when Mike had ended the call saying that he was going to work, um, I exited out of Messenger and I saw it say save and edit. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's good. That's all good. And then it turns out that I looked at it and was like, why is there two videos? There should be three. There should be three.
I know. Should
Not
be
two.
three. Is there a third video right now or redoing?
Yeah, yeah. So we're redoing this third take, this third segment of it.
Right.
We're only allowed 30 minutes per segment
Right.
on this video edit.
Right.
Video creator. So I am working on doing this, and they ended up going from really good in things. We had our backlash predictions all set up here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all done within 30 minutes. About what, 15, 30 minutes?
Yeah, 15, 30 minutes basically, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And everything was all good and done. And all of a sudden, it just cuts out. It did not save or anything. So we have to redo this entire segment now, all because of the app not saving everything. I was afraid that we were going to redo the entire thing, the entire show.
Well, I was hoping we weren't because there's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I forgot.
It was a very long. This was a very long show. Very long show, and I've.
But you didn't forget anything. Yeah, I didn't forget anything either. We said that's the last half of the show. We finally made it up and finally got what we remembered.
Yeah.
That's all we talked about was what we talked about now, except for the backlash. But
yeah. Now, for the backlash, right now we can only do our reactions. But as far as what is going on right now, all I see is Triple H being on the press conference right now, and usually
talk about as usual. That's what he usually does.
Yeah, his usual thing. But I'm not focusing in on that right now. I can probably watch that on YouTube later on. I'm not going to be that worried about that right now. What I'm worried about is getting the show back to where it was, so I can post this video. So you want to talk about the backlash thing? We talked about our predictions.
And none of mine, except for the ones that said about even, were true.
Yeah.
Well, about two things I said wrong on it, and if I remember right, it's the Becky Lynch thing. I thought someone was coming out. Haley, that was my prediction. It didn't happen.
No.
And then the outside interference thing for Fair Boy, and no one predicted that either.
No one expected.
I found that too.
No one expected Jeff Cobb to show up.
Nope.
No one expected Jeff Cobb to show up.
Nope.
No one.
Zila first, and then okay, that's who it was. I thought it was Zila, but
no.
I know Cobb was supposed to come in sooner or later. I know they signed him.
Yeah.
A month ago.
Yeah. So you get Jeff Cobb coming out, interfering with the match, and of course, Jacob wins. And it's planting the seeds for what I predicted of a solo Jacob Fatu breakup soon. Because Solo's going out of his way to do stuff that Jacob's not liking. And it's clear on that. You look at his facial expressions. He was not happy about it at all. He was blindsided.
Right.
Was this now his character was blindsided? Yes. Was he himself blindsided? I don't know. It'll come out later on, but right now we don't know. The next match, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch.
That was a battle.
You said that Becky Lynch was going to win it.
Yeah, because I thought Becky probably win it if there was no outside interference, but
there was no outside interference whatsoever.
She was going to win that way. I didn't know what was going on. Like I said, Becky Lynch.
Roll up pin,
I also said, but you never know. Lyra can win too. You never know.
Yeah.
But Becky Lynch, I said, you never know what's going to happen. That was an asterisk on that. Something might happen. Yeah. I thought Bailey was going to come in, but no, it was fair match until Becky got sore loser.
Yeah.
I thought she could win because everybody wanted her to win.
Yeah.
All the time,
Next was Dirty Dom versus Penta.
A joke.
A joke match.
One trick pony. First they come on the apron, blah blah. Then everybody starts coming out, and all of a sudden, Chad Gable under the mask comes out. Sooner or later.
Yeah. That was not on our cards. That was not on our cards.
No, I hope one of these days the mask gets in the ring. The song gets in the ring, so he has to face Chad Gable right there and then, and Chad doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And then Chad will not get a title shot. If he offers a time to face him to get a title shot in the future, he might unmask himself.
Yeah.
I think in a month or two he's going to unmask. It's a joke. The Triple A wrestlers are probably going to attack him and take the mask off.
Now, when we talked about this match earlier, we did not even mention the possibility of Chad Gable or America Kana. We did not even. We didn't even predict that. We didn't predict that. We predicted that.
We thought let's go do it again, and basically, that's a big surprise.
Yeah. So we predicted that Dominic Mysterio could win the match. That was one of the possibilities.
I'd say Ray Fix to show up, but he didn't show up. So
no.
That's the other thing I was wrong at.
No. So we predicted Dominic was going to win the match somehow. Yep. But we did not predict this. The next match that happened.
Gunther versus Pat. Pat did a great job. I mean, he took Gunther. Gunther was a joke, but then he took Gunther on, basically. But I like in the end when Gunther acknowledged him at the end.
Wait. John Cena just AA'd R-Truth onto the press conference table. And he's walking out.
Yeah, God wants to show off. He's a show off.
Yeah.
Getting back to the acknowledgement, I'm shocked Gunther acknowledged Pat and walked away.
Yeah.
Saying he did a good match. If he thought it was going to be pushover. But he toyed him long enough and found out Pat could hang with him.
Yeah. I was thinking that Michael Cole was going to be more into the match than what he was.
Yeah, that's what your prediction was. But he was a little bit, not much.
Yeah. So
I thought someone else was going to interfere and start another thing with Gunther, but no one else came out.
No. So, and Gunther won by that. To me, some of it was a little bit cringed out there. I felt a little uncomfortable watching Pat get beat up like he did.
Well, it's like this. He made great comebacks several times.
He made several comebacks.
He surprised Gunther.
Yeah.
Gunther was just 21, but man, when he surprised him, boom.
Yeah.
After
He
started taking him
surprised them.
seriously. He took
But
Gunther was a joke, but then he took him seriously once he started really pummeling Gunther. That's
yeah.
when he took him seriously after that.
Yeah.
That's why he acknowledged him because he hung out. He was so tough against him. He
Those
just hung
kicks
out.
were like
Basically, total Gunther.
yeah.
Took all Gunther
Yeah.
can give him.
Yeah. If this was a no disqualification match, you could guarantee that Pat McAfee would have done a low blow punt kick on Gunther.
Right.
Um,
Okay, the main event, which I thought was good until the end, it ruined it for me. It wasn't even a classic match up to the end. I had a feeling something was going to happen at the end. I had a feeling when the bell rang, Cena's going to have people coming in, or people are going to come into the ring. Just like WrestleMania, we had that rapper come in.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the way Rock's character is saying everybody up to keep seeing the title. That's his character, basically he's telling everyone to go to the ring and stop him, so he keep seeing the title. It's going to be like that probably for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So, main event: John Cena versus Randy Orton.
It was good,
and this has been the first PLE in a very long time where every single championship was retained. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
There. So every single championship was retained.
Yep, there was only like 3 of them.
And we get and going into this match, what I was thinking was, could Randy Orton actually win this title, because WWE has a history of not having every single one retain the title like this.
Well, small pay-per-view. The Backlash not much of a big pay-per-view. Like Money in Bank's probably the same thing. Money to the big pay-per-views. Like SummerSlam's gonna be 2 days. But what those back-to-back pay-per-views are gonna have that one day in June?
Yeah.
The one at 3 o'clock and one at 7 on the same day. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Watch Triple H stars wrestle early and then watch the Money in the Bank that night. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So
back to back. Think about that. About being back to back.
We'll discuss that when it comes.
Sorry, I swore. Just a fire call.
Yeah. So
popping up.
What happens in this match is several ref bumps happen. Chad Patton gets knocked out twice. And his second bump, he's knocked out longer than normal. There are several table shots there. There's several times where there could have been a disqualification. Doesn't happen that way. Understandably.
Referee in sight. That's what happened.
Yeah. Referee doesn't see it, doesn't call it. Nothing you can say or do.
And the second referee comes in.
Second referee comes in, gets knocked the fuck out.
But what I don't understand is, why didn't they even rush the first referee instead of the second referee? Because the first referee got injured more than the second referee. That kind of got me.
It makes no sense.
Wonder to screw Randy Orton. That kind of that's screwing Randy Orton. They're doing to screw Randy Orton.
That was a Randy Orton screw job right there too. That's why he.
I said Rock probably sent him out so he could screw Randy Orton.
Yeah, that's why he RKO'd all the officials there. Every last one of them.
They're all SmackDown. They're not Raw. They're SmackDown officials. Because Nigel was out there at the head of it.
Yeah, he's RKO'd Nick Aldis. He RKO'd Jamie Noble. All the others there that came from backstage. And he was about to punt kick John Cena. R-Truth comes out. He ends up RKOing R-Truth. And that's what cost him the match. Like, you're Randy Orton. Okay, you're the legend killer. You're the Viper. Everything else, you know how everything goes. You're a third generation star. You should know not to get distracted by R-Truth. RKO R-Truth, and then focusing on John Cena and because you know he's gonna be lurking from behind and RKO him before he gives you a low blow. Do that. You know you are way more. The voices in your head go more deeper than that. Okay, so
Yeah.
you do that, and then you say, okay, going to RKO him and do it that way, and win or lose the match that way.
Okay, but what okay, I'm telling you the two things that were best in that night: the women's match and that big giant brawl between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. That big slam into the tables off the thing, off the
That was a
box.
bad bump.
That was awesome.
New reports show that Drew McIntyre was sent to the hospital after that bump.
Yeah, because he took more of it. He took more of it than
Yeah.
Damien did. Because he landed kind of landed wrong. Well, I think he slipped. He was him air. If you notice when he had air, he had full secure him.
Yeah.
He slipped down a little bit and probably hurt his neck.
Concussion. He's in concussion protocol right now. So
yeah, he probably hurt his neck or his spine a little because he landed wrong.
Yeah, he's going to be out for probably a couple days or so. We'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, by the way, I put something on my Facebook. Guess who the new Punisher is?
Who?
Randy Orton just got cast. They're making a darker Punisher movie with him being the Punisher. It was just announced today that he is taking time off WWE and is going to be the Punisher in the new Marvel Punisher movie. They just said that a couple minutes ago. I just posted it. I saw on my Facebook. So I want to check it out. You love this audition. They decided to do that.
Okay, so that's why they are. Okay, so that's why they did not let him win. Then
because his character basically he liked his character, so that's why they decided to have him do an audition. And man, he blew them away with his audition.
Yeah.
So he's the new Punisher.
Oh well.
Oh, well. It's gonna be darker. It's gonna be a darker version of the Punisher. It's not gonna be alive. It's gonna be a darker version.
Yeah. So that may be why he lost in things, because he knew about it before any of us did. They decided to post it out after he lost, so might as well do it that way. So
anything else we're gonna talk about, or we're done?
I believe we're done.
Okay,
we are done. So
all right, this time.
Yes. So we've already talked about AEW. We already talked about Backlash. We talked about next week's show.
Everything we talked about.
Everything's good.
Till next week.
Till next week. So I am the Jedi08. That was Mike. This has been the Broken Turnbuckle Podcast. Thank you and good night.